Down to the genuine ones only. Hope all is well in your end. Protect your energy because not everybody's ever your time. Have a safe day. Have a safe week ahead of you. Protect your energy because not everybody's ever your time. Like I said, this page is not for everybody. And this light is really blowing minds right now. But that's besides the point. It's the thought process for me. You know, like I said, this page is not for everybody. And that's okay. But one thing for certain, two things for sure, is that the violence needs to stop. Why should I have to wait for you to reevaluate your life behind a jail cell when you can love yourself in the actual reality of a world that actually can respect you? But when you go against your neighbor with hidden intentions, trying to size somebody up, line them up, play them close, all because you're a hating disguise or you just don't have good intentions, to allow violence to display within the universe to go against your neighbor because you don't love yourself, or let alone you don't know your self-worth. It be the thought process of me, ma'am, sir. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter about your sexual orientation. It doesn't matter about your culture. Stop the violence, stop the violence. It be the thought process of me, down to domestic violence. If someone has controlling issues. Down to domestic dispute calls. Is it really called for? They only going against their own self when they become their own worst enemy, displaying violence within violence, thinking it's the norm, and it was never the norm. When an enemy tries to knock at your door to allow you to believe it was the norm of the norm, and you accepted the offer of becoming your worst enemy when an enemy doesn't have to do their job anymore. Because you allowed yourself to believe it was the norm of the norm, to display this type of behavior. It doesn't matter what trauma was endured within you from a child point of view going into your adulthood. You can still respect your neighbor. Just because you had less and someone was trying to make it and trying to figure life out today, don't mean sight them out their freedom. Or because you a hating disguise and you ain't got good intentions when it comes to your neighbor. It be the thought process of me. Wow. It's sad to see that doesn't matter about your culture, doesn't matter about your sexual orientation. Nowadays, it seems like it doesn't even matter how old you are. When it comes to violence, it's someone going against their neighbor. Either they are hating disguise, they just don't have a heart within a heart to understand the self-awareness within themselves, to show up for themselves in a healthy way. They rather project this negative energy and this animosity of hate towards an innocent person. Wow. Kids killing kids. Thinking that's your friend. Thinking that's your family member going against you. How disgusting. This shit is awful. Let's pay attention. Because it seems like nobody's really paying attention when it comes to these topics until something actually happens. No, you're supposed to speak upon it at the end of the day to go against it before it actually happens. But then when you speak about it, it's kind of crazy and sad and pathetic how the norm became the norm and they say this is stupid to talk about. It's the thought process for me. Clout chasing? Nah, that was never part of the plan. On God's timing, and I say this respectfully, it's the thought process for me. God said going against your neighbor within the world that we live in today was never part of his plan or her plan. It's a thought process of me. I said what I said. Like I said, this page ain't for everybody, respectfully. It's sad to know that your neighbor can sit right across of you, regardless if it's family or not. And they have a motive within a motive of having malicious intentions towards you. And you don't even know it. You could be a kid. You could be an elderly. You could be an adult. Doesn't matter. Someone will sit there and play you close, act like they so in tune with you, or someone's having a misunderstanding self-day with themselves to go against you. Wow. It's the thought process of me. How you go against your neighbor with malicious intentions. You know what your neighbor's trying to do is just elevate and live life as God intended, but you psych them out their freedom before you trying to even acknowledge their thought process because you had malicious intentions from day one. It'd be the thought process of me, how they sit there and play you close, allow you to believe that you wasn't unworthy of yourself, or because they have controlling problems. It'd be the thought process of me. They say stop the violence, stop the violence. That sounds stupid to do. Why so? Coming from someone who doesn't have any self-awareness for themselves, let alone, they don't even know how to acknowledge themselves to have self-control, let alone self-respect to respect their neighbor, to have the self-confidence within themselves, to understand the start to go within and do the proper healing when it comes to self-awareness because they don't understand themselves today. It'd be the thought process for me. Those be the main ones you got to pay attention to at the end of the day, and I say that respectfully. That's the same person that will psych you out your thought process when it comes to your own family members. They would do something to you and play victim at the end of the day and say they didn't do anything. It'd be the thought process of me. Toxic becoming toxic, wow. Toxic behavior. It shows up in front of you today. But it became the norm of the norm. You walking right across the street, within the street of a sidewalk, coming and cross plays at the end of the day. Doesn't know who you're walking by. Doesn't matter what side of the street you on. Thinking that's your neighbor, and your neighbor's against you, and you're just trying to walk down the block, crossing the street. Doesn't matter what diangle it is. It's a thought process of me. You're just walking into a store. You're supposed to feel safe in your community. They say it takes a village to raise a child, right? But it also takes a village and a community to respect each other and to be at peace within the community, not to go against each other. When you can't even walk down the street, feeling unsafe within safe, not safe at all. It's a thought process of me. It's not the norm of the norm anymore just to walk down the store just to get a gallon of milk. Feeling uncomfortable. Watching your own back within watching your back. Because you don't know which diangle is going to come from. Because people want to be beware today. They shooting air within shooting air, don't even know how to aim. Oh, then they run up on the wrong person. Now here we go again. Assumption of an assumption, which is scary having ass. Don't even know what you're doing when it comes to a game plan. Going against your neighbor. Now you playing in your own face. Now you 6 feet under because you came across the wrong one today. The wrong one? Nah, the right one. You see how they family trying to play victim today? Saying they caught the wrong person? Nah, they caught the right person that was playing on the right person's face today. You know, they say your karma will be displayed when you least expect it. It's kind of funny today. This person walked up on the right person. Not trying to realize at the end of the day that they was walking into the right person's hands today. Not only the right person's hands, but the right person's hands today. Everybody else they got away with. Not today. I'm going to psych you out your freedom, letting your thought process. Because you played games today. Coming across the right one. I was waiting for you, within waiting for you. You didn't even understand. God has been paying attention to you. And God says the real one is going to deal with you today. It's the thought process for me. When you come across the right one, at the right time when you least expect it, doing malicious intentions things, God will reevaluate your thought process and allow you to believe that, hey, Judgment Day's been here. Your karma's looking real good on you today. Now pay attention, because you haven't been paying attention when it comes to self-awareness. It's a thought process for me. Someone's minding their business with them minding their business. You displaying violence. Judgment Day's been here. God kept warning you multiple times, stop, stop, stop. You just wasn't paying attention. The norm of the norm, your toxic behavior, making excuses as to why you can't show up for yourself, saying that as a child, they overlooked you, they gave up on you. Nobody showed you love. Things went into your adulthood. You allowed yourself to believe that the norm of the norm was violence because that's all you saw as a child. It's a thought process for me. Excuse after excuse. trying to figure out how did this happen today. Now you're really reevaluating your thought process. Like I said, Judgment Day's been here. God gave you more than one chance than after chance to pay attention, but you kept overlooking God's awareness. Saying you crying out for God, help, 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 but you overlooking yourself, not having the proper self-awareness. You rather go against your neighbor with malicious intentions. It's a thought process for me. Asking for God to guide you to better days ahead, only to play in your own face. It's the thought process of me. How they wear this mask and act like they so in tune with themselves, only to reevaluate their thought process. They only play in their own face, playing on God's timing. It's the thought process for me. Sometimes God puts us in situations to reevaluate our lives. Not just to reevaluate our lives, but to get it together. If you don't get it together, when are you going to get it together? Well, don't wait till it's too late. It's been too late now, because Judgment Day's been here. Haven't you not paying attention? Judgment Day's been here. It's the thought process of me. Asking for forgiveness. Wow. Bothering innocent people. Wow. Saying I won't go against my neighbor no more. Yeah, that spiritual jail that you sitting in today, don't know how. You got yourself there today, though. It be the thought process of me. Putting on this negative projection on innocent people at the end of the day, it be the thought process for me. When you become your own worst enemy. Reevaluating your thought process. You didn't make it to see 6 feet under today, but you made it behind a jail cell. And you allowed your sins to be clear as day. What you did, how you did it, because you was wrong. Because you didn't want to pay attention. Pushing everybody away that loved you and cared for you. You had a happy home. Nobody was going against you. No abuse. You see how that works at the end of the day? Don't matter what kind of home they come from at the end of the day. You could come from a dysfunctional home. Substance abuse, violence. It just takes for that one time for someone to see as a child. Didn't get the proper healing when it came to trauma, and they became the person who's asking for forgiveness. You see how that go? How people get overlooked in the crazy world we live in today. Society, society, society. Are we paying attention? Nah, we not. Because we're going against our neighbors. Don't matter what the culture is anymore. Your neighbor feels some type of way the way you tie your shoe today. Your neighbor feels some type of way the way you wear your hair. Your neighbor feels some type of way because the car you drive. Wow, you're doing too much today. And I say that respectfully, never competition. It'd be the thought process of me. You're supposed to feel safe regardless of what environment you're in, what country you're in. You're supposed to feel safe at all times. It should never have to feel like someone is going against you because they're having a misunderstanding self-day with themselves, or let alone they trying to figure out a plot and a plan to go against you today because they don't have good intentions. Nobody's supposed to experience stuff like this. Violence, why? Or because of hate in disguise. And then when it becomes a hate in disguise, the person has to defend themselves, and then here we go with time. Now someone's reevaluating their thought process after self-defense. And they now trying to find out a game plan for themselves because now somebody's trying to throw them the gel under the rock of the jail. So they won't be able to see for themselves. How time get thrown to you at the end of the day. Because you decided to understand self-defense and your words were overlooked. Because in some cases that happens. It does. Where you're trying to protect yourself, and amongst protecting yourself when you're a genuine person, and it really did happen by you protecting yourself and nobody understands you, nobody's trying to understand you, they overlook your words until something happens, and now you're reevaluating your thought process when it was against you from day one. It's stop the violence, stop the violence. Nobody wins in these type of situations. And I say that respectfully. Nobody wins. It's not safe. Especially for an innocent person who doesn't deserve that. Regardless if someone is doing something towards them to attack them or not at the end of the day. Nobody needs that type of energy being projected on them. Or then the instigators that start these type of acts when it comes to violence. You know, calling somebody out at the end of the day like you're about that life. You're saying that you're about that life, right? But then you don't understand the plan within the plan when it comes to your plan that, you know, you're behind a jail cell today for all the right reasons. Now you want to play victim behind a jail cell? It be the thought process for me, weirdo. Now you screaming everybody free you, free you, free you. It be the thought process of me. Ma'am, sir. Like, how does that work? You call somebody out, they respond to you, then you reevaluate your life, saying that you don't want no play today. Like you don't want to, you're not about that play today. Or you call somebody out, then things go left because somebody not about that life to be playing with at the end of the day. It be the thought process for me. And then you sitting there reevaluating your life, realizing at the end of the day, this person is not playing with you. And realizing that they're not playing with you at the end of the day, now you're feeling some kind of way. Because now you want to back out of something that you displayed and you allowed to start within starting your own pain and your own trauma. It be the thought process of me, how they sit there, play victim at the end of the day, and they cause their own pain. When they reevaluate their situation, when they're away from their own folks. Because they only gave themselves their own sentence when they was doing the communication, going back and forth with an innocent person. It be the thought process of me. How you give yourself your own sentence? The judge didn't give you that sentence. You gave yourself that sentence. You called somebody out and you had malicious intentions. It be the thought process of me. Weirdo. What's wrong with you? Yo, what's wrong with people? It be the thought process of me. Like, you do a crime, right? You just committed a crime, and you know that. You just gave your own self your own sentence at the end of the day. I don't understand, like, and it be the thought process of me because you be like, yo, these people that scream that they're adult all day long, right? They're so mature, whatever the case may be. You old, washed up, whoever you are at the end of the day, because they be these old, washed up folks at the end of the day that got all this to say. So much to say! But they be the main ones reevaluating their life when they get incarcerated. They be the main ones crying. They be so about their life. They mans in them. My mans in them. Yo, you know how gay you sound? No disrespect, but you know how gay you sound? Do you know? Like, I never understood what men ran into a jail facility every chance they got. Like, who are you going to see? Because it doesn't register within register at the end of the day that you love to commit crimes in the day. And then not only that, you're calling somebody out. Like, you're waiting to go see your boyfriend or something. Like, it be the thought process of me. Like, I never saw this in my life. Like, even the females' prisons and stuff like that, you don't see shit like that. Ain't nobody fiending to go to prison over some female than they. Are you crazy? You weird ass. It's the thought process for me. I love my freedom. I'm gonna stay here with the family I'm trying to create. It's the thought process of me. What the hell is wrong with people? It be the thought process of me. Like, people really be doing too much. And it be the main ones. Either you're a female or a male. And you be over the age like 40, 50 years old. Man, when you commit a crime, it should be no reason why you putting on a speech for. No, for real. I never saw no shit like this before until I understood my thought process. No, for real. I never saw somebody do a crime, an act of a crime, and the boys is looking for them or whatever the case may be. They gotta put on the whole show. No, I got that bail money. The whole hood heard you. Hello, shut up. Reevaluating their thought process, whatever the case may be. Just want to put on an entrance. They need a crowd all the time. Just to reevaluate their thought process. They don't have no bail money. They just put on a whole show for no reason. Attention-seeking whores. Like, how old do you get when you reevaluate your life and say to yourself is, cloud chasing was never part of the plan? It'd be the thought process to me. Like, why does it take for a situation to happen within a situation? Now you want to raise your voice and all that. Like, everybody hears you. Everybody hears how ignorant you sound, because that's how you truly sound, is mad ignorant. After you're talking about that you just committed a crime against an innocent person who didn't do nothing to you, you're bragging about that. It be the thought process to me, or how you want to put hands on somebody at the end of the day and have malicious intentions to bring harm towards them and their family at the end of the day, all because you're a hater in disguise. And you're a bully, like you're a real life bully. You're a real life bully. How you go looking for trouble at the end of the day? It be the thought process to me. This happens every single day. And I say that respectfully. It happens every single day. It doesn't matter what hood you from. It doesn't matter what neighborhood you from at the end of the day. This happens every single day. When you least expect it. It don't matter what area you live in at the end of the day. It's always somebody doing something at the end of the day to make themselves well known for their ignorancy. Looking for attention in all the wrong places at the end of the day because someone overlooked their pain. Because someone overlooked them. So they looking for other people to see that the action is on them at the moment. After they just bothered an innocent person. Like, does it make sense what they're making sense? Talking about I don't care about going to jail. Have a nice day somewhere else, respectfully. Regardless of your sexual orientation, regardless of your culture, at the end of the day. For someone to sit there and say whatever, like, for real, you don't care about going to jail? Are you crazy? First of all, we not doing this today. No, we not. Yo, the germs that's in jail, leave me alone. I don't want to argue with you. Are you crazy? No. I don't want to argue with you. I love my life. I love my life. Yo, the bacteria in these facilities. All right. I got OCD. I'm not playing with you. No. Not even a little bit. It really be the thought process of me. Like, when you hear somebody scream that out the top of their lungs, I don't care about going to jail. First of all, you the bully and you the bully. I see why you don't care. But we not the same. No, we not. Not even a little bit. Have a nice day somewhere else, though. Yo. Those be the ones that's going to psych you out your freedom, your thought process, your eyesight, your pockets, all that. Like, I gotta stay away from you. I gotta stay away from you. Nah, but that really happens, though. And it's sad that happens like that. But this is the society we live in today. Not everybody's like that. No. Not everybody's ignorant. No. Some people do have common sense. So know at the end of the day, screaming at the top of your lungs and it wasn't not self-defense, you helping your neighbor or helping your family or whatever the case may be. And you screaming off the top of your lungs after you display that you a bully. You don't care about going anywhere. You know what? No. It's nothing cute or attractive about it. Screaming off the top of your lungs that you want to go to jail. It's nothing attractive about it. It's nothing fun about it. I don't know what's in the air, what they're trying to display at the end of the day to allow you to believe it's the norm to go to jail. It's not the norm. And I would love for you to understand that. It's not the norm. It's not the norm. To psych your own self out your freedom or your thought process on the day, to allow yourself to believe that's the norm. It's not the norm for nobody to be in. And I say that respectfully. It's not a place for nobody. And it's sad that they display this within displaying, that they allowed you to believe that once upon a time that this was okay to display. And you're watching it within watching it, and you're thinking it's a fun place to be, like you're like it's a walk in the park. Because you're trying to escape your life problems. You're trying to escape the finding the balance within yourself to show up for yourself. So you feel like, you know what? All I knew all my life was my trauma, my pain. From a child point of view, going into my adulthood, was the exchange of allowing to allow you to believe that being in a facility was the norm. So you sit there and do active crimes, and you bother innocent people within the process of showing up for yourself. And because you bother innocent people of displaying this act of violence and motives of as to how you willing to play someone's clothes, how you truly feel like you playing somebody clothes, only to realizing that you only playing your own face. Because all what happens is you just keep hurting yourself more and more. Allowing yourself to display these acts and to sit and reevaluate your thought process within your thought process, because it comes to that moment as to why you where you are and how did you get there. That comes to display. When you have to come to terms with where your pain actually hurts and understanding your trauma, to know at the end of the day, going against your neighbor was never part of the plan. You're trying to show for yourself, but you don't know how. Because the norm, the toxic behavior became the norm of your everyday routine. Trying to find peace within, don't know how to go within your healing. Feel like you're just going in circles, within circles, showing up for yourself. You know, when it comes to healing, it's not easy. It's not. And to have excuse after excuse why you don't know how to show for yourself, to have the proper, genuine self-awareness to understand your pain today, it's not going to be easy. And it's not, healing will never be forced. Because healing, you have to be mentally ready when it comes to healing. And I say that respectfully. Because dealing with childhood trauma, going into your adulthood, that exchange with yourself is the most uncomfortable healing process ever. Facing your own music and being actually mentally ready for it. Because you have to go within. Something of a displaying showed you at the end of the day this was the norm, that how you got here today. And all you did was made excuses after excuses, because that's all you knew was to make excuses, because you didn't know how to show for yourself in a healthy way. They overlooked you. They didn't show you genuine love. You didn't know how to love. So when someone tries to respect you, to show you the right way of loving yourself, and someone not going against you with their words, and someone actually meaning what they saying what they mean, that they're real with you today, the energy hit different. Always having a problem within trusting someone when it came out to being within your comfort zone of showing up for yourself to find balance within. You didn't have the right source of information when it came to finding yourself, because you kept overlooking yourself. How could you find yourself if you overlook yourself? You're not having a proper self-awareness for yourself. Asking yourself how. It's not easy facing your own music when it comes to healing. It doesn't matter what trauma was endured within you from a child point of view, being sexually assaulted as a child, dysfunctional family, things went into your adulthood, violence, sicknesses, domestic violence, trauma on top of trauma. You put a name to your book. They overlooked you when you was a child. They overlooked you because they didn't see your worth. But you can't allow someone to dim your light because they don't see your worth and they don't see your potential. Having self-awareness is very important, to know your self-worth, To know your self-value, showing up for yourself in the most healthiest way, to have balance within balance. You know, these tools that God installed within us: self-awareness, self-respect, self-peace, self-control, self-discipline, self-confidence, self-care, self-value, self-love, self-patience, self-worth, healthy boundaries, healthy balance, so you can elevate and understand your reflection of your mirror when you look at yourself and get in tune to who you are today. To be patient with yourself, because God is still patient with you. Just because you had a misunderstanding self moment within your life, of your journey at the end of the day, being misguided the wrong way, trying to find yourself in the most healthiest way, to be at peace with yourself within, not to go against yourself, to hurt yourself with words, to not to be a hate in disguise, to psych them out their thought process on their freedom. You know, your neighbor, because you're having a misunderstanding, good or bad day within yourself today. You don't have to go against your neighbor. You could just stay in your own lane and elevate and find the balance within the balance to show for yourself in the most healthiest way. Instead of choosing violence and having controlling issues and playing the narcissist manipulation mind games at the end of the day. And saying and hurting your own self with your own words, dimming your own light, stopping your growth. Because you matter. You matter. But violence, what point are you proving at the end of the day? Like what point are you possibly proving to show somebody at the end of the day that you know how to scream louder than them, or you're more aggressive than them, or you're displaying violence within violence towards an innocent person today? It's something cute about it, something attractive about it, something funny about it at all. Because it goes from playing the screaming match at the end of the day, going into someone having malicious intentions, now violence on top of violence on top of violence, and it happened that fast. Because that's what happens. Something happens so fast and nobody knows what happened. But the bully is the quickest one is to play victim at the end of the day. Stop the violence. Stop the violence. It's nothing attractive about a female being aggressive and wanting to go to jail every minute, every second, or whatever the case may be. And she committed that crime, and bragging about the crime that she done did today. Or even when it comes to a man, bragging about a crime that you did like 20, 50 years ago. It be the thought process of me. And then the way you bragging about it, like you're taking the information within taking the information and displaying the information to people about what you experienced within experience, and saying it was about that life. Like, nothing cute or attractive about you when you was a bully. When you was the bully. You're bragging about being a bully? Come on! It's not making sense at the end of the day. It's not. Like, you really sitting here bragging about being a bully. When you realize certain situations, when you hear people's stories at the end of the day, they were the bullies. And then you reevaluate your thought process. You've been sitting here waiting for somebody to come home this whole entire time, and they was a bully. And they was a bully against an innocent person that did not have malicious intentions to bring harm towards them. It be the thought process for me. It's disgusting. It's nothing cool or attractive about it at the end of the day, bully. You committed a crime 40, 50, 20 years ago at the end of the day. What was your crime for? Assault, attempted murder, all types of weird-ass charges you had, right? And then they try to realize what they thought process and say to themselves is, dang, I shouldn't have opened my goddamn mouth. Yeah, you shouldn't have. Because ain't nothing in these documentations saying at the end of the day, it was self-defense. You was the bully. And you think that's cute and attractive? It be the mindset for me, like for real, for real. How somebody says they're so mature with them being mature, but they're displaying that it's okay to be a bully. It's the thought process for me. It's not the norm of the norm, being a bully. especially against your neighbor who does not have malicious intentions to bring harm towards you or others around you. It be the thought process of me, how you're projecting all this negative energy into the universe at the end of the day to innocent people who's not even deserving of your trauma and your pain, because you don't know how to respect yourself. And it doesn't matter about your culture. It doesn't matter about your sexual orientation. And I say that respectfully. Like I said, this page is not for everybody, and that's okay. But it's the thought process of me. When it comes to bullies, at the end of the day, you see how old they are, how they dressed up? Being a gangster, that's what you think is being a gangster. You think that's what the trend is, what it's about, being a bully? You're weird. You're weird on top of weird. There's nothing cute or attractive about you. And I'm sorry that they allowed you to believe that was the norm, but it was never the norm. And there's nothing cute about you. Being a bully. Out here bullying elderly people and thinking that's cute and funny. It be the thought process of me. And then you see how the projection is being put on children at the end of the day, thinking it's the norm, the norm. Because what someone sees, they think is the norm. It be the thought process of me. And especially when they don't have the proper self-awareness to show up for themselves today. To understand the awareness within themselves that that is not right. So seeing something from a view and seeing it from a child point of view, and someone seeing that, they think it's the norm. It's nothing the norm about it. Being a bully. You got innocent people trying to come out their comfort zones to go from point A to Z to start their day. And they got to worry about bullies who have hand problems, who have controlling issues at the end of the day, who don't have the proper self-awareness within themselves to understand and stay in their own lane and leave their neighbor alone with no malicious intentions. Someone comes out their comfort zone to go from point A to Z. Why they being stopped at gunpoint, being robbed? Why is this happening? On a street where you're supposed to feel safe, where you felt safe for years. Ma'am, sir, is it making sense within making sense? Because it's not making sense. How you come out your comfort zone to go from point A to Z, and you gotta worry about your neighbor trying to run up on you, take you out your thought process on your friend, your pockets, or your eyesight, because they have malicious intentions. And then when you speak up about stuff like this, you sound stupid. I don't understand. Why does it have to wait for someone to exchange these words with you for you to understand at the end of the day, this is not the norm? Oh, when someone realizes that they're gonna psych you out to your thought process today, and for you to realize at the end of the day, hey, nah, this ain't cool. Or to happen to one of your family members, then you understand it's the norm. Because your family allows you to believe it was the norm, or they was against it. Which one you gonna pick and choose today? It be the thought process of me. How you have individuals who have common sense than people who battle themselves not to have self-awareness. And they're the ones to go against you because of the fact that you have self-awareness and you know how to respect yourself and respect your neighbor without having malicious intentions. Then they will sit there and try to bring harm towards you, all because of the fact that you're saying, stop the violence, stop the violence, stop the violence. It should never have to wait until something happens to your household or happens to someone that you care about and love at the end of the day to understand that this is not the norm. Nothing about this is healthy. Nothing about this is attractive. Nothing about this is cool. And I say that respectfully. It's a thought process for me. No matter where you are, you should feel safe going from point A to Z. Regardless if you're having a misunderstanding, good or bad day, with yourself. But you know how to still stay in your own lane and respect your neighbor, regardless if your neighbor has a misunderstanding, good or bad day with themselves. You still know how to respect your neighbor. But your neighbor doesn't understand to stay in their own lane and understand the plan within the plan of showing up for themselves in the most healthiest way. Because they don't have self-awareness. And when someone doesn't have self-awareness, they will display the act of unhealthy behavior, toxic behavior. They will display their own trauma within displaying their trauma to project it on an innocent person who's not deserving of that. When you have an individual who has common sense to know at the end of the day, I'm not going to sit here and exchange words with my neighbor because my neighbor doesn't understand themselves today. And when that person doesn't understand with understanding that exchanging words with your neighbor was never part of the plan because you don't have self-awareness today, let alone to understand the comprehension of having common sense, to understand what I'm even saying today. You will only sit there and go against your own self with your own words, trying to communicate with someone who would take your words as a threat as they reevaluate their thought process and say you think you're better than somebody. Nah, I just know how to respect myself, to respect my neighbor, and understand at the end of the day, regardless of what my neighbor pain is today, that has something to do with me. But I hope one day my neighbor finds peace within themselves to show up for themselves in the most healthiest way and stop displaying this toxic behavior within toxic behavior, allowing it to believe it's the norm of the norm, because it's not. When it comes to trauma and pain, stop projecting your misunderstanding days with yourself and trying to find yourself within balance and finding yourself to display to an innocent person who's not deserving of that today. It's not right. You know, when it comes to healing, you can't have one foot in one door, one foot in the other door to show up for yourself. You gotta mean what you say and not wear a mask, tune into yourself in the most healthiest way. You gotta mean what you say and be real with yourself and stay true to yourself. And understand when it comes to trauma healing, it's not easy. But displaying violence within violence, it's not safe. It's not healthy. Stop the violence. Like you sitting here becoming your worst enemy, calling somebody out. Why are you really mad though? What is really bothering you that this person allows you to feel like, you know what, I gotta go and bring harm towards them today. I gotta call them out to bring harm towards them today. Because when you reevaluate your thought process, and the police or whatever the case may be called, and you're reevaluating your thought process in the investigation room, they're asking you questions, then asking you questions, and asking you, how do we get here today? And you sit there looking stupid within looking stupid. Because now you're just trying to reevaluate your life and say to yourself is, you know what? I don't even know. The most dumbest question you ever hear in your life. You don't fucking know. It be the thought process of me. Like, ma'am, sir, you're doing too much. And not only that, you're the instigator, but then you hurted innocent people within the process. And you don't know why. You shoot in air, and you mean to say you don't know why. You was aiming at somebody, but you missed them because you was shooting at air. But you don't know why. You was shooting when you was shooting. Does that make sense? I don't think so. Until an innocent person gets hit and within your crossfire at the end of the day, now it makes sense within making sense to stop the violence. But you overlook yourself and allow this energy to continue to display. And you still don't know why. As they continue to ask you, why do you keep putting yourself in these type of situations? And how old are you? It's disgusting. It's not cute or attractive. Oh, you feel like you ain't got nothing to live for anyway, right? So you'd rather be here in an investigation room behind somebody's jail cell? Are you serious? Not eating a home-cooked meal that you're supposed to be eating every single night? Getting up, going where you feel like it? Going into a clean bathroom? Are you serious? It be the thought process of me. It's sad. It's so sad. They just leave innocent people alone within your process. of not having the proper self-awareness for yourself. And you sit there and say you have the proper self-awareness for yourself, but you're the main person to say, I don't care, I'm gonna go to jail for whatever I did. But being a bully, okay, that's weird. That's weird. And you're supposed to be someone's role model. How are you supposed to be someone's role model at the end of the day? And you're a bully. So you basically showing this display of a display and showing the youth that it's the norm to be a bully. It's nothing cute or attractive about you at all. It's a thought process for me. Stop the violence. It doesn't matter about your sexual orientation, your culture. It don't matter. Leave innocent people alone. Just leave innocent people alone. Misunderstanding self there with yourself because you don't know how to reevaluate your thought process to have the proper self-awareness within yourself, to show up for yourself. Mad at the fact that someone drives a nice sport car, or they live in this house and they live here, they live there, they just a hate in the skies. The same way one person can get it, you can get it too, the right way. But you gotta elevate yourself, not put all this animosity that you allowing yourself to display within yourself to stop you from elevating, becoming your best self vision, to get in tune with yourself in the most healthiest way. You know, to have self-awareness, to go within and do the healing, so you can elevate to becoming your best self vision of yourself. Something that your neighbor's trying to do. And you're trying to distract your neighbor, then distracting your neighbor to display this unhealthy behavior. It be the thought process of me. It's no competition at the end of the day. When becoming your best self vision of yourself, it's no competition. But within the process of you becoming your best self vision of yourself, you don't have to display trauma and pain and bringing violence towards an innocent person and calling out someone today. All because you're having a misunderstanding self-day with yourself. And for you to turn around and say, you know what, well, it was just a misunderstanding. So you displayed all of this toxic behavior within displaying all this toxic behavior within the universe and allow it to be the norm at the end of the day, just for you to reevaluate your thought process when it shouldn't have been like this in the first place. Because you're supposed to be mature within being mature as an adult that you said you are today. It'd be the thought process of me. Stop acting your shoe size, act your body weight. It will make more sense. It's the thought process for me. They say stop the violence, stop the violence. Stop the violence, stop the violence. Stop the violence, stop the violence. They say stop the violence, stop the violence. Listen, the people in the back can't hear you. The people in the back, they can't hear you. The people in the back, they can't hear you. The people in the back, they can't hear you. Stop the violence, stop the violence. Stop the violence, stop the violence. Stop the violence, stop the violence. It's the thought process for me. Stop the violence. It's the thought process for me. I so appreciate time to the genuine ones only. Just because someone gave up on you, don't give up on yourself. Just because someone overlooked you, don't give up on yourself. You are genuinely loved by all the right people. You are genuinely respected by all the right people. And you deserve to be treated with respect 365 days with no malicious intentions to bring harm towards yourself or others around you. Protect your energy because not everybody's serving your time. Like I said, this page ain't for everybody, and that's okay. It's the thought process for me. Never allow hating disguise or personal malicious intentions like your thought process out of your freedom or your pockets or your eyes at the end of the day. Because they have malicious intentions, you are worthy. And you matter. Don't allow someone to dim your light. Because they overlooked you. And you allowed yourself to believe it was the norm of the norm for someone to actually dim your light, for you not to have the proper self-awareness, to go within, to understand yourself, loving yourself today in the most healthiest way, to be at peace with yourself. And you don't have to wear a mask. You can remove that mask to get in tune with yourself in the most healthiest way. But then the process of you showing up for yourself because you have controlling issues or whatever the case may be, understand at the end of the day, going against your neighbor is not part of the plan. And you're only hurting yourself at the end of the day. Change the way you think to show up for yourself. Because you're only hurting your own self in the long run. And I say that respectfully. Sorry they overlooked you. Sorry they gave up on you. But you deserve to be treated with respect too. But you should not have to display violence just to prove a point. Just for someone to respect you at the end of the day. It shouldn't have to be that way, especially displaying violence towards an innocent person. And to reevaluate your thought process, your fingers is pointing to yourself when you become your own bully. It be the thought process to me. Stop the violence. Stop the violence, stop the violence, stop the violence. I truly appreciate your time to the genuine ones only. Have a safe day. Have a safe remaining week. Protect your energy because night is having a good time. It's the thought process for me. I gotta go. Now, genuine love, respect. Have a good week to the genuine ones only. Gotta go, gotta go.